I'm John Persinos, Editor-in-Chief of Aircraft Value News. I'm also a contributing editor at Avionics International Report. Welcome to my video presentation posted March 26, 2025. The global aerospace industry has become an intense battleground as geopolitical strife, trade disputes, and shifting alliances redefine the sector's competitive landscape. While Boeing and Airbus have long dominated commercial aviation, the industry is being reshaped by growing European assertiveness, American unpredictability, and China's rising ambitions. The Trump administration's foreign policy has disrupted traditional alliances, prompting European retaliation and opening doors for China's state-backed Aerospace company. These dynamics are influencing aircraft demand, base values, and lease rates in ways that could have lasting consequences for the industry. Since World War II, NATO and the Transatlantic Alliance have provided a framework for Western security, fostering a stable environment for aerospace and defense industries. However, President Donald Trump's alignment with authoritarian leaders, including Russian President Vladimir Putin, has undermined traditional Western unity. His open hostility toward NATO, coupled with a withdrawal of American support for Ukraine, has forced European nations to reassess their defense priorities. As a result, Europe has accelerated its push for greater military autonomy. The European Union and its member states are significantly increasing defense expenditures, investing heavily in indigenous aerospace and military programs. As the following chart shows, Europe's plan to increase defense spending is poised to boost the continent's combined economy. Analysts estimate that an increase of defense spending in the European Union from just under 2% to 3.5% of gross domestic product would cost around 300 billion euros annually. This sum would generate a similar amount of additional economic activity. The shift in U.S. priorities has led to retaliation against U.S. aerospace firms, with European governments steering contracts away from Boeing and Lockheed Martin in favor of Airbus. This reallocation of defense spending is reshaping the competitive balance in the aerospace sector. Further exacerbating global uncertainty is the erosion of confidence in U.S. leadership. Recent scandals, such as a journalist inadvertently gaining access to a national security conference call, have amplified concerns over White House mismanagement. America's increasingly transactional foreign policy has further alienated traditional partners. Meanwhile, as this chart shows, Trump's tariffs are expected to adversely affect U.S. economic growth. U.S. tariffs, particularly those targeting essential raw materials like aluminum and steel, will undermine the U.S. economy by increasing production costs, fueling inflation, and stoking trade tensions with key partners. As aerospace manufacturing heavily relies on these materials, tariffs will drive up expenses for companies like Boeing and suppliers throughout the industry, eroding profit margins and making American aircraft less competitive globally. As this chart shows, in a trade war, nobody wins. Retaliatory tariffs from other nations could restrict U.S. aerospace exports, reducing demand for domestically produced aircraft and potentially leading to job losses. With international competitors poised to capitalize on these disruptions, protectionist trade policies risk weakening the U.S. aerospace sector and its long-term global dominance. These trends have made European nations hesitant to rely on the U.S. for aerospace and defense procurement, reinforcing the pivot toward European and alternative suppliers. Amid the Western divide, China is rapidly expanding its aerospace capabilities. The state-supported Commercial Aircraft Corporation of China, COMAC, has intensified its challenge to the Boeing-Airbus duopoly. The C919, COMAC's narrow-body competitor to the Boeing 737 and Airbus A320, is a key part of China's strategy to capture market share, particularly among domestic airlines and emerging global partners looking to reduce dependence on Western manufacturers. That said, COMAC's customers are largely domestic-based, as this chart shows. COMAC's customer base is currently dominated by Chinese airlines and leasing companies, largely due to strong government backing and policies favoring domestic carriers. However, this is set to change as COMAC aggressively expands its global presence. The intersection of these global trends is also affecting aircraft valuations. With European defense spending on the rise and Airbus gaining market share, demand for Airbus models is increasing, bolstering base values and lease rates for aircraft like the A320neo and A350-1000. The aerospace industry is at a turning point. The fracturing of traditional Western alliances, China's aggressive push into the market, and Boeing's internal struggles are realigning global aviation. Airbus is capitalizing on these disruptions while Boeing faces a turbulent future exacerbated by shifting geopolitics and its own regulatory woes. Meanwhile, China's aerospace ambitions are no longer a distant threat, but an emerging reality. Well, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. And if you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to send an email to me at jpersinos@accessintel.com.